All right, welcome everyone to today's Explainer. Get ready because we are looking at one of the most absurd, high-stakes scenarios you could possibly imagine. I mean, we're talking about professional Minecraft builders sitting down at their computers and competing for a real-life Tesla, an all-expenses-paid dream vacation anywhere in the world, and the grand prize, a physical house worth a staggering $250,000. These artists are literally building their futures block by block. Okay, let's dive into this. To understand how you can win prizes this massive, just by playing Minecraft, we need to look at the judging criteria laid out by Judge Nolan. Because it's not just about slapping blocks together, right? The judges are looking for 4 specific things. First, flair, which is basically the visual excitement. Then functionality, like having actual working mechanisms. Accuracy, to make sure the proportions don't look completely squished. And finally, story, which is the underlying narrative or the why behind the build. Keep this rubric in your back pocket because this is exactly the lens we're going to use to analyze every single strategy today. And you know what the craziest part about this whole competition is? The escalating pressure. The stakes absolutely skyrocket as the tournament progresses, and it acts like a total pressure cooker for these digital artists. I mean, they get a pretty comfortable 3 hours for the early rounds, but then the time limits literally plummet. It's a masterclass in watching creative professionals try to keep their cool when real-world, life-changing assets are on the line. So here's how the tournament bracket is going to play out. First up, round 1, the Tesla trial. Then we head into round 2, dream vacations. After that, it's the 10-minute speed run. And finally, the big one, the $250,000 final showdown. All right, round 1, the Tesla trial. 3 hours on the clock for a real-life car. Let's get into it. In this round, the builders have exactly 3 hours to create the best Tesla, with the winner taking home the actual car and securing a spot in the finale. Right out of the gate, we see a massive clash in strategy, especially between Taco and Quinten. Taco decided to prioritize the accuracy metric. He totally sacrificed the interior and any working mechanisms just to build this absolutely flawless, perfectly proportioned exterior. But Quinten, he went the exact opposite route. He went all in on story and flair. He completely ignored functionality and built this wild, action-packed narrative where a diagonal Tesla is literally jumping off a cliff in midair just to dodge a chicken in the road. He even added these visual wind lines wrapping around the car to show motion. And you know, the other competitors brought some incredible details to the table too. Nico didn't just build a car. He built the entire gaming room around it, complete with functional windshield wipers you could trigger with a button. Though the judges did say his seat proportions were a little too high. Todd went with a clever Mr. Beast-wrapped Tesla, crashing through chocolate debris, making the whole interior out of Feastables bars. The judges loved the integration, but felt the car itself was a bit squished. Zeke's built his Tesla literally driving on clouds, featuring an incredibly accurate interior and Feastables flying right out the trunk. And this brilliantly illustrates how powerful a narrative can be, because Quinten actually takes the win. His hilarious story of dodging a chicken, combined with the extreme visual flair of those wind lines, totally won over the judges. He secures the real-life Tesla and locks in the very first spot for the final house challenge. Moving right along to round 2, dream vacations. Any destination in the world. So now, the remaining builders have another 3 hours to build literally any destination in the world. And the prize? An all-expenses-paid trip to that destination for the winner and their friends. The scale of what they pull off here is just breathtaking. Nico constructed a wildly accurate Tokyo Disneyland, complete with a working Splash Mountain roller coaster and fireworks going off in the night sky. Todd went for the Bahamas, featuring a massive surfing wave, dining areas with fish and rice, and a super clever callback, a raft referencing a past stranded-in-sea survival video. Talk about a great way to win favor with the judges, right? Taco, aiming for South Africa, built an island covered in penguins, beaches with floating rubber duckies, and an incredible camping setup where you sleep under a customized starry sky. But man, it was Zekis who claimed the ultimate vacation. He built this highly dynamic adventure scene of himself parachuting down into an active volcano, totally surrounded by floating lava. And he was so confident in his build, he planted a literal, flaming victory flag right in the landscape. The judges absolutely loved the extreme adventure and his sheer confidence, sending Zekis on his dream vacation and locking him in as the second finalist. Which brings us to the next phase. The 10-minute speedrun, sudden death panic. Okay, here is where things go completely off the rails.
The remaining 3 face a terrifying 10-minute sudden death round to build absolutely anything for that final house slot. The panic here is palpable. You can literally hear them frantically smashing their keyboards. In just 10 minutes, Nico miraculously manages to construct a giant PS5 with a clever, fully functional power button that actually plays a sound effect. Todd builds a massive, squished Wagyu steak topped with a rosemary garnish, though he hilariously gets roasted by the judges when he admits he actually prefers his real-world steak well done. No way. And Taco? He builds a gorgeous Japanese torii gate featuring a winding pathway that leads right up to a ceremonial celebration gong.
But actually, scratch that. Let's slow down for a second, because Taco did something incredibly smart here. When asked about his build, he shared this quote: "My sister has consistently been the most supportive person with my Minecraft building. I would love to take her on a trip and pay for it through this challenge." He wasn't just throwing down blocks for a digital torii gate. He anchored his entire 10-minute scramble to a deeply emotional, compelling story.
And guess what? His story-driven pandering worked flawlessly. The judges admitted the whole thing felt like a movie. Taco wins the round, securing an actual trip to Japan for his super supportive sister, and he punches his ticket as the final competitor for the House Challenge. And hey, don't feel too bad for Nico. He gets to go home with a very generous cash consolation prize.
So the crucial point is $250,000. Think about that number for a second. This isn't virtual currency. This is the real-world value of a physical house sitting on a physical lot, complete with a garage and a yard. This is what these 3 Minecraft players are about to fight for. The $250,000 final showdown. 1 hour and 30 minutes to duplicate reality. So, set the scene in your mind. The 3 finalists are brought out to the actual property. They take off their blindfolds only to realize the ultimate challenge. They have exactly 1.5 hours and 30 minutes to perfectly recreate the very house they are standing in inside of Minecraft. The frantic mental geometry required here is just insane. Step 1, they literally have to run around scouting and mapping the physical layout. Then, they jump into the game, laying placeholder yellow wool to mark paths and sheds. They have to figure out how to engineer functional sinks and stoves from scratch. Imagine looking at an AC unit out back or a yellow bench on the porch and having to instantly translate that real-world scale into a 3D grid of digital blocks. But let's look at the real-world stakes for the people behind the keyboards here. On one side, we have Quentin, an 18-year-old kid living with his mom. He dreams of becoming an architectural draftsman, and he's fighting insanely high Dutch housing prices just trying to move out on his own. On the other side, you have Taco and Zekis, 2 university students who are literally pursuing their master's degrees in architecture. It is this unbelievable clash. You've got intense academic expertise going head-to-head against raw, hungry teenage talent. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is a very specific problem they run into. The physical house actually has some empty rooms. The judges made it crystal clear that a strict 1-to-1 architectural copy just isn't going to cut it. They demand creative risk. They want functionality and unique details added to those empty spaces to see what the builders would actually do with the house if they owned it. As the final hour and 20 minutes fly by, you can see the sheer exhaustion setting in. The frantic mapping, the scaling, the heavy pressure of $250,000 resting on where you place your digital blocks. And then the timer hits 0. Hands are off the keyboards. The ultimate test of their Minecraft careers is completely out of their control now. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. Throughout this entire tournament, we've seen a constant battle between pristine architectural precision and wild, narrative-driven creativity. When a $250,000 house is on the line and the pressure is at its absolute peak, what truly matters more? Flawless technical accuracy or a compelling story that connects with the judges? It's a fascinating look at art, pressure, and the bizarre, wonderful reality of modern digital competitions. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.